Okay, so we've got our rectangular prism put together. We do want to make sure that you get rid of all of these seams. I have some people who, to them, this is enough. Okay, and you can still see like a whole bunch that is still there. They say that they got rid of it, but this should be a completely smooth rectangular prism. So you need to make sure that you are blending more than that. You don't want to go through and do all of the grid lines on this until you actually know that this is nice and smooth, because you don't want to blend around those grid lines. Okay, so make sure you diagonally blend across this. You can see that mine's pretty dry, but it does like take those marks. So, I mean, it's still soft. But we do want to make sure that we wrap this up good. And then you can even see like how much a sponge is going to get rid of all those designs. Okay, so continue to blend. This is going to look better the smoother and the nicer you make this stage. Okay, so just keep going. Just because you blended it once doesn't mean that it's all the way smooth. Okay, keep these edges. You don't want to round stuff off. And then I would just keep looking and going around and checking. Okay, because you can see how this definitely has some places I need to touch up. So does this one. Okay, maybe more like on this side. So blend and then make sure you've sponged everything off. I'm going to go ahead and show you on this side. I do have to make sure that you think about this. This is just a piece of clay. This is not like a piece of paper. So the ability of it to change shape is much higher, right? That it's going to get distorted or get dented or something like that. So you have to be really careful about that aspect of it. And you have to be kind of flexible with it because it's not going to be perfect. Okay, but what I am going to do is use either protractor or a ruler, and you're going to put this up here. We are going to make 1/2-inch grids. Okay, so just like this, where I went through and I made all these designs, I'm going to grid this out so I have a 1/2-inch grid. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I can see my 0 over here. I can see my 4, and I'm going to make these 1/2-inch little hash marks, okay, which is just like a little dash, okay, right where those are. Okay, so you can see all of those. I have people who want to just say, oh yeah, I'll eyeball it and I'll just draw myself a line. Okay, we're not doing this right now. I want you to watch. Okay, so you don't want to do that. You need to give something down here for it to connect to. Okay, so again, I'm looking at where that I've got 0 over here, 4 over here. If you look at like this corner, it's a little bit like dented. Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. And so I've got it kind of moved up. So I'm going to do the same thing with the little hash marks. Okay, so I have those all the way down here. So now you can see the top and the bottom of these, and then you're going to connect them. Okay, so from here on out, or at least at this beginning part, the only thing we're doing is drawing. You are drawing, so if you need to, you can erase this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect those and draw my line down. You do have to like offset this a little bit. Look at where I'm putting this. It's not like right on the line. It's right next to the line. Okay, so you can see how the line is right there. So then when I draw through it. Okay, so this is what we are doing. We are getting a grid on this entire thing. Okay, minus whatever is the bottom for your project. And I would only want to do this once, so I would make sure that you're doing it right, because it's not very fun to have to erase all this when you've just tried to eyeball it and everything is crooked, and I say, yeah, it's probably better if we just erase it. Okay, so I have all of this done. I'm going to flip and I'm going to do it the other way, the same way. Okay, and I'm just drawing this. You can see how since I've drawn it, it's not hard to get rid of. Do you see that? Right, it's gone. Okay, you might still see a little bit of like the graphite, like the pencil, but for the most part, it erases really fast. So you can see I've got, this is 6 inches, so I'm going to do every half. And then again, down here, every half. And then I'm going to connect. The nice thing about this is once you do one side, you have some of the lines already drawn for the next side. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and connect these. And you know, if something looks wrong, it probably is. So I would make sure you stop and figure that out before you just go ahead and keep going. Okay, so this is what it should look like. I'm going to go ahead and redraw the place that I erased so you can see this. Okay, so now I've done all this measurement. I've done all the sides, all the top and bottom. The nice thing is, once you've done that, I'm going to make sure that when I connect over here, I'm just going to drag these over, right? I just want to like mark them so I can see them on the top. And then I don't have to measure that side. Yeah? So you don't have to measure it. I already measured it over here. I'm dragging them over to the top. So then I can go ahead and measure these. And then I can go ahead and already connect them. So that's faster, right? That makes me a whole lot faster. Because I don't have to mark this side, I just drug them over. So then that would be the same thing. That one doesn't look quite right. Okay. And then that's going to help things match back up as well if you drag that line over, or those edges. Okay, so same thing here. If I was going to go to the next side, I would be dragging all these over so I could connect over on this side. Okay, so let's look at this. You would go ahead and apply that same technique to the entire thing. Okay, I'm not going to show the rest of it. Okay, so now I'm to this point where I'm ready to go ahead and pick what I want to do on here. And then I'm going to get this drawn on my box. Okay, this is where you have to use a ruler and some type of measurement to make sure that you're getting these all the right shape. Okay, so I think these are nice because they're only 6 inches. They're about the size of the pot. Okay, at least one direction. And so this makes it really nice to use this. So let's say that this is the design I was going to do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. And I'm going to go ahead and draw and connect all of these. Okay, and since I've already done this design on my paper, I know how to do this, and I can go ahead and draw this on my box by connecting all of those lines like I did before. Okay, so you can see those and how that would continue. Those are at least the outside places of them. Okay, so I would continue and get the insides of these. And this is just drawing it. Everything here would be really easy to get rid of. Once you start carving, you're actually removing the clay. Right now I'm just making a little dent, right, or an indentation into it. So it's really easy to get rid of. And then if you see something that's not right, then you can fix it. So that's why we're going to draw everything first. Okay, so that's 2 boxes for me. Okay, you can see that this is 1 box, so I have a box here and a box here. Now it could also be that I could have drawn them this direction too. Okay, it would still work, right? Where I would have a box here, but they would go this direction instead of this direction. So once you get this drawing on here, you're just going to use your eraser. I feel like this is probably the best thing. And you're just going to go through and you're going to erase everything that you don't plan on carving. Okay, just by what you would do with a pencil if you had to erase something. But you would go ahead and just erase those. If you don't, then you end up carving them. That's just how it works. Your mind sees that line and you go ahead and carve it. And then you wish you wouldn't have. Okay, so this is just 2 boxes that all I'm going to show you. And so we still have, if I was actually going to do this, I would need to finish the rest of the design. But I've erased everything enough to where I know that I'm not going to carve it. After you get to this point, you are going to get a carving tool from me that looks like this. It has a little wire on this, just a loop. And so this is going to let you actually carve and remove the clay. And it works best, at least with a straight line, if you use something to guide it against. And so let's see if I can get a little closer. So I'm going to go ahead and hold this up, offset it like I did when I drew the lines, and then you can see that when I drag this, it actually removes a little section. Okay, do you see that piece of clay? Let's see if I can focus this a little better. Okay, so it's taken a chunk out of that. And you're just going to continue to do that same thing and carve and remove. And so this is leaving like a groove in the clay that the glaze will kind of puddle like and drip out of. And I like to carve all of like the same direction. I feel like it's a little bit easier. You don't have to keep moving. So I'm like doing everything so I don't have to move my project. Okay, and then I'm dusting that off. And then I would take a sponge and I would clean all of that up.